Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we'll be discussing Footprints Without Feet, Supplementary Reader, English for Class 10. We will begin with our fourth chapter, A Question of Trust by Victor Chaney. A Question of Trust is a story about Horace Danby, a man who appears to be an honorable and decent citizen, but secretly steals once a year to buy rare books which he loves. The story explores themes of trust, deception, and how even clever criminals can be outsmarted. So, Horace Danby, known to everyone as a respectable and honest citizen, around 50 years old, unmarried, living with his housekeeper who looks after him, and he lives a comfortable life despite suffering from hay fever allergies during summer. He runs a successful lock-making business with his two assistants. However, beneath all this respectable appearance lays a secret. Horace was not completely honest with everyone. 15 years earlier, he was jailed, and though he still commits certain thefts once a year, he does not commit big problems. But once a year, he commits one burglary so that he can buy rare and expensive books that he loves and purchases them secretly through an agent. So on this bright July day, Horace felt confident that his carefully planned robbery at Shotover Grange would succeed just like his all other robberies. So for 2 weeks he has been observing the house, studying the rooms, wiring, garden paths, and the movements of the people living in there. The family that lives in that house had moved to London recently, and the two servants that were left behind had gone to the movies that afternoon. So once he saw them leave, Horace stepped out behind the garden wall with his bag of tools and ready for the burglary. So inside the house, there were jewels worth about 15,000 pounds locked in a safe. By selling them slowly, Horace hoped that he could make a 5,000 pounds enough to buy 3 rare books that were being on sale in autumn. So we can assume that he is doing in July so that he can slowly sell it by the end of December, so December or September, so that he can buy them during the autumn season. So, knowing that the housekeeper kept the kitchen key in the hook outside, so he put on his gloves to avoid any fingerprints and unlocks the door and walks in. So in the kitchen, a friendly little dog wags its tail at him, and Horace easily quietened it by calling Sherry or something like that. And he always believed like some kind of name, once it is very friendly to you, if you call some kind of name to it, it will just listen to you. So he just goes inside. The safe was hidden behind a door, behind a poor painting in the drawing room. So Horace briefly imagined collecting paintings required too much space. So he doesn't like the idea of collecting paintings. So as he prepared his tools, his hay fever started to trouble him due to a large bowl of flowers kept in the room. Because allergies, they are caused by pollen. Hay fever is mainly pollen allergy. So during springtime, all the pollen is released, so that at that time, people who are allergic to pollen, they get hay fever. So there were a collection of flowers kept in the room in a vase. So when he crossed it, his allergies got triggered and his nose began to tingle. So what happened was he sneezed repeatedly. Then even as he cut the wire of the alarm system, he was sneezing. And Horace felt people were foolish for leaving such valuable information about their house published in a magazine. And he had read one recently such article that explained the layout of the room, the house, and even there about the painting and the safe behind it. So all those things people unwantedly or unknowingly, they unintentionally, they had repeated to a journalist who had printed it on the paper also. Just as he was about to begin opening the safe, his sneezing grew worse. Immediately, seconds after seconds, he was sneezing. So at that moment, he heard a woman's voice coming from the doorway. So asking whether he had a cold or a fever, hay fever. So lost in thought because he was sneezing and his mind is disturbed, he didn't think twice and he was lost in thought and he replied, hay fever. Like that and began sneezing again. The woman calmly talked about treatments for hay fever and said about all the home remedies for it. And suddenly she heard him sneezing from, she said that she heard him sneezing from upstairs where she was. So her unexpected presence shocked him and marked the beginning of a twist that he never expected. So now we'll go to the comprehension question. So what does Horace Danby like to collect? Horace Danby liked to collect rare books. Then why does he steal every year? So he steals once a year to get enough money to buy those rare books since they are very costly and he cannot afford them through his regular income. He is earning his keep. Like he is earning what he can survive on. With his two assistants, he has to pay them. He lives in a house. He has to take care of the house. A housekeeper is there. He has to pay for that housekeeper's service. So that much he is working and it is enough for him. But in order to buy rare books are really, really expensive sometimes because they are first editions or they are signed by the author, original author, those kind of books. They are very expensive. So for that, he needs extra money. So for that extra money alone, he steals. He does not do any other thing with that money just to buy the books. Next part. So what happens is Horace is suddenly interrupted by an young woman dressed in red and who speaks in a calm but firm voice. She claims to be the owner's wife and pretends to be mildly amused at catching him in the act. Like she is not afraid or she doesn't show fear or anger or anything. She just amused like someone is there trying to steal but he is sneezing in front of the safe. Horace hopes she will let him escape if he behaves very politely. Just like if you are caught lying or you got cheating during exam or something, you start crying or you start being polite to the ma'am like this was the first time, like this is not something I do and I am not such a person and this was the first time I did this. Like that you start giving excuses and trying to be polite and trying to what to say, you're trying to impress them that you are a nice person and this was a one-time thing and you are not really such a person with bad intentions. Like that he's trying to appease her anger or frustration like that. So however, she warns him that she will call the police if he tries to run and cleverly makes him believe that she is the owner and takes complete power over the situation. So afraid of going to prison again, because anybody doesn't want to go to prison. So he is fearing prison. So Horace pleads with her to let him go. So the woman takes advantage of his desperation and his fear and pretends that she has forgotten the combination to the safe, that she was going to a dinner late at night and she wanted to wear the jewels that were inside, but she forgot the combination as she is too rich and too nonchalant to remember safe combinations. So she tells him to open it for her. So wanting to please her and desperate to escape without any jail sentence, Horace removes his gloves and believing to save himself, he starts to help her. So she takes a cigarette from the box and tries to keep it on her mouth and tries to find the lighter, immediately to help her to make sure that she is in a good mood, Horace removes his gloves to open his lighter because using gloves we can't. Maybe he found it difficult. So he removes his gloves to give her the lighter, something like that. So he is now degloved. Then he opens the safe for her and he takes and gives the jewels to her and she says, "You can go." So he leaves, really happy that he didn't get caught and she won't inform on him. But 2 days later, unable to resist the temptation of rare books, Horace thinks of planning another robbery. But before he can act, the police arrest him at his house for the robbery at Shotover Grange. So his fingerprints were found all over the safe because he had worked without his gloves. Because he has taken the gloves out of his hands for giving the lighter to the woman in the red dress. So no one believes his explanation, saying that there was a woman, the wife was there, that is why I did this, and the wife said it's okay, you can go. But nobody is believing him because the real mistress of the house, the owner's wife, was a much older woman and angrily denies that knowing anything of this young man and the young woman in red dress. So Horace finally realizes that he was tricked by a clever and professional thief posing as the owner's wife. So sent back to prison, he now works as an assistant librarian and grows furious whenever someone says to him that honor among thieves, because he was betrayed by someone from his own world, because another thief only betrayed him. She could have just taken the money and just wiped the safe for him or allowed him to put the gloves on and do that instead. But instead, she made sure somebody got caught for the stolen jewels so that she will not be accused or apprehended for it. So now we'll go to the comprehension. So who is speaking to Horace Danby? So Horace Danby, when he is trying to open the safe, somebody is at the doorway. When he sneezed, they were started to talk about hay fever and its remedies. It was a young woman. She pretended to be the owner's wife, or she was the owner like that she pretended to be. So next one, who is the real culprit in the story? So the real culprit in the story was the woman, because she made such a believable impression that she was the owner of the house. He believed her and tried to help her, and he got caught in the end. Next, we'll go to the main comprehension. Did you begin to suspect before the end of the story that the lady was not the person Horace Danby took her for? If so, at what point did you realize this and how? Because yes, we can actually predict it, because the suspicion begins when the young woman is very calm when she enters the room and speaks to Horace without showing fear, shock, or even anger. Like any person who sees a robber for the first time in their house, they scream and they yell, asking for somebody to come, or they yell at them, the robber, for stop doing what he is doing. So those things were supposed to happen. But she is not doing any of that. She is just amused at him and watches him. So her behavior is certainly unusual for a person who has just caught a burglar. So also she cleverly controls the situation, threatening to call the police and then asking Horace to open the safe for her because she's just forgotten the combination. No one forgets combinations of safe because you have valuables in there, documents, jewels and other things. So nobody actually forgets combinations. So that is also another important point. Next, all these points, if we gather around, we see these are unusual reactions to someone who is pretending to be the owner. So that is how we are figuring out that she is not the owner but some kind of suspect. What are the subtle ways in which the lady manages to deceive Horace, and into thinking that she's the lady of the house. So what are the ways means? The young woman uses many subtle tricks. First, she scolds the dog lovingly because the dog was friendly. So when Horace first came in, so he said something lovely to it and it just went away. The same way, when she enters the room, the dog again tries to rub against her legs like that. So she scolds the dog lovingly in a polite way and showing familiarity like that, as if like I have always been here. Don't act like you. I have not been here around you like that. She is scolding the dog. Next, she pretends to be amused at Horace rather than angry or frightened of having another man inside the house. So she pretends to forget the combination also for the jewels, to take the jewels of the safe. Then she behaves in a sophisticated and wealthy manner that matches the house and the situation. Like you can find rich ladies to be pompous, or you can say entitled. So she behaves in that airy kind of way. Next one, Horace does not suspect anything because she acts very confidently and leaving no room for doubt. She is so confident in how she embodies the richness in her life that he is not able to question her anymore regarding her authenticity. Then her beauty, her charm, her calmness, all this comes into play as well. So it becomes a thing so that she is trustworthy to hers. And since he also has hay fever and he is panicked because someone else has come inside while he was trying to burglar the house, he is stopped thinking logically. Now his brain is scrambled and he is not able to properly think for himself. Next, he believes that being too kind or polite to her will easily let people escape. So he thinks that if he is very polite to her, she will let him escape. So next question. Horace Danby was a good, respectable man, but not completely honest. Why do you think this description is apt for Horace? And why can't he be categorized as a typical thief? So Horace fits this description very well. So because he is a decent, respectable man with a steady business and good reputation. So this is how he shows himself outside. And also he steals only once a year, not regularly or violently also. He never harms anyone. He only goes to the house when it is empty, steals, and he comes back. He doesn't harm anybody and he doesn't take more than what is needed for him. And he steals only from rich people. And also he only buys rare books with it. He doesn't do anything else. He doesn't lavishly spend it on himself, or he doesn't lavishly buy houses, or he doesn't drink it up or something like that. He only buys books because he is an avid reader and he loves rare books. He just buys books and he is careful and avoids any confrontation with anybody, such as a person who is already there in the house or the owner, something like that. And he is or does not also leave footprints or fingerprints. So he feels guilty but does not enjoy the crime, but he has to buy it because he justifies his robberies with a passion for books. Then Horace Danby was a meticulous planner, but still he faltered. Where did he go wrong and why? So, where did he go wrong? So, in this sense, he went wrong in three major ways. First one, he blindly trusted the woman's story. He didn't assume, like he was sure because he had planned weeks. Okay? For weeks he has been planning and he saw the house and he was taking out the house. He found out the garden path, wires and everything, and he saw how many workers were there and what time they went and how many rooms were there and the layout, all the things he researched. So he forgot that point entirely when he saw the woman. Because if he had staked out the house for weeks, he would have known that there was no woman in the house, only workers were there. But suddenly now one lady is coming and she is saying that she is the owner. He didn't even think about that. So he blindly believes that she is the owner just because she says so. And next one, he removed his gloves. To light her cigarette, he removed his gloves to give the lighter. So his fingerprints were all over the safe immediately. So police found the evidence through fingerprints. So next, last one is, he allowed the fear and panic to cloud his judgment, to take control of him. Because he didn't want to get arrested, that kind of panic caused him to make an irrational decision. He didn't think twice before answering her or trying to appease her. So all those things, this one caused his downfall. So next one, we'll have the section about talk about it. So for Horace Danby was unfairly punished, or that he deserved what he got. So what do we think about it? For this, we can say that he got what he did because his punishment may be harsh because he was tricked by someone who may seem harsh because he was tricked by another thief only, but who was clever than him, more clever than him and smart than him. But he still deserved it because he had entered a house with the intention to steal and broke open a safe and committed a crime knowingly, even if he stole only once a year or did not harm anyone, and still he violated the law because stealing is wrong. Even if you don't have any proper, like you are not doing anything wrong or harming anyone, he just only bought books. It is not harmful, if you might say. But that is still wrong because stealing is against the law. Even if you feed orphan children, you have to do it with your own money. You should not steal and do it. So you might feel sympathy for him, but punishment is the consequence of your own dishonest actions. Next one. Do intentions justify actions? Would you, like Horace Danby, do something wrong if you thought your ends justified the means? And do you think that there are situations in which it is excusable to act less than honest? So, intentions alone cannot justify your actions. So, Horace thought stealing was acceptable because he thought the money is only going to buy books. Doing something wrong, even for personal passion, such as any other thing, might be seen wrong. But most people would not approve of harming others and breaking laws even. So even if the reason is very harmless. So however, there are few exceptional situations where it is being less than completely honest might be excusable. For example, lying to protect someone from harm, saving a life or preventing danger. You see someone trying to kill someone or trying to hurt someone and you lie that the police is coming. Or like you are lying that I have caught this on video, but indeed you have not done that. And so they try to leave that place. So you are helping someone's life. So that kind of thing, it is somewhat acceptable in that situation. So there are moral dilemmas where purpose is greater than the wrongdoing. But stealing for personal desire, even if you are buying books only, it is something of your own desire to do it. So as Horace did. So it is not justified. So in simple terms, you can say that doing wrong or for selfish reasons is never excusable. So doing wrong to protect others may be understandable. So for your own gain, your stealing means it is still objectionable and it is still wrong. Next one, this brings to the end of the story. So Horace Danby's story reminds us that even clever planning and good intentions cannot justify dishonest actions. So his downfall shows how a single moment of misplaced trust can undo years of careful reputation building, because now he will be publicly humiliated and he will be taken to prison. So he has been put in jail now. So nobody will come back for to him for being a locksmith, because how, he is already a robber, so you can't buy locks from him. He might steal you, like that only people will think, even though he stole only from the rich, and he is someone who is working a general job. Locks are used by everybody. So even the normal people won't buy locks from him, because they will assume that he might come back and steal from them. So the lady thief outsmarting him highlights that crime ultimately leads to humiliation and loss. And in the end, Horace learns that honesty is the only path that truly offers security and peace. So he could have been happy with the life that he had, being a respectable man in the society, living happily, living justified in a manner. But he chose to steal. So that will always give you, its punishment is due. Whenever it has to come, it will come. So that is what the story conveys. So you have some suggested reading books, such as The Unexpected by Ella Atkin. In the story, a woman prepares herself bravely to face the execution of her lover, believing she is strong enough to handle it. However, when the moment comes, her courage collapses and she is overwhelmed by shock and grief. And the story shows how real emotions often overpower confidence and we imagine that we have. That we might think that we are strong or something, but once we actually face the situation, it is entirely different, because we can sit and write, you can text, like, I can do this, I can do that, I can be like this, and when this situation comes, I will be doing that. Because you see articles and you see newspapers and you see that a victim has been there for robbery or something. If I had been there, I would have done this, you might say. But when you are in that position only, you will be able to understand the dangerousness of the situation, how you have to react. It is a split second reaction moment. So you don't know how to react. You might be in shock. You might just freeze. You don't know what to do. So once you are in the situation only, you will be able to understand how your feelings come about. Next one, The Confession by Anton Chekhov. So in this case, in this story, a young boy is pressured into confessing a theft he never committed, simply because the adults are forcing him to confess. He confesses. So he assumes himself to be guilty because the adults are saying he is guilty. So this is really wrong. So the story highlights how children are often misunderstood and forced to admit things that they do not even understand. So he might not even know what the theft was, but since elders are saying it is you did this, so he immediately accepts it. Next one, A Case for Defense by Graham Greene. So in this, a murder suspect appears certain to be found guilty until a dramatic twist that occurs in the court, which involves his identical twin. So the surprising turn raises doubts, allowing the accused to escape punishment, showing how truth and justice can be clouded by uncertainty. So you have to be 100% certain of things to accept it. Without any proof, you cannot accept any things. So this brings us to the end of our chapter and also our video. So if you have any queries or questions regarding the chapter, you can please leave a comment below, or you can contact us at Go Ask Now Academy. And so catch you soon in the next video. So thank you for watching.